sibingelela kuma-Talent Broadcasting Corporation. Namhlanje uyabona ke siphethe uNaomi intokazi yakwethu ezosisiza ekucabangeni around ama-issues esibhekana nawo njengabantu. Awekho specifically ukuthi sizothi namhlanje sibheke kule issue, kodwa ke ngumuntu ongu-jack of all trades in terms of her intellectual prowess. So sizobamba ngapha sibambe nangapha ukwenzela ukuthi uma sisuka lapha sibe sesi-reach in terms of ukuba enlightened kuma-issues esizowadingida namhlanje. Siyakwamukela namhlanje dadewethu khulu ukuthi usivakathelelana kuma-Talent Broadcasting Corporation ukuthi nje sizoxoxisana. Kodwa ke before lapho besingathanda abalaleli nababukeli bangathanda ukuthi bazi ukuthi uNaomi ngubani kahle.
Ibizo lami nguNaomi, but ibizo lami, my first name nguNomvelo Shoko. Ngivela koBulawayo, but I grew up in Gwanda, eMatshejeni. That's where I was brought up. And then I learned there ngasemfundo emzilikazi, ngafunde eAsha ngasemfundo emzilikazi. And then afterwards ngasehambe University of Zimbabwe ngasengiyenza i-Bachelor of Science Honors in Psychology. And then I wanted to pursue psychology master's level, but when I went back since I had the master's, kwaba lama complications because sasingelama supervisor, so I ended up not being able to do it at University of Zimbabwe. So for the greater part of my life, after graduate, I've been working in different organizations and different companies. But ngingumuntu othanda ukuba involved in community work, and I started voluntary work ngise college, University of Zimbabwe. I started off as a peer educator. During the times of HIV and AIDS, I was involved in peer education. And whilst ngikhona ngale AUZ, I was also involved. There was a project that we were working on as students from different departments. I'll try youth to youth project, where we're going to the rural areas to just engage with the youths there and deliberate on issues, just to talk about different things that affect youths in the society, especially ama-youth asekhaya. So we also used to talk to them about HIV and AIDS. I remember there was a time when we went there and we were talking to them about condoms and all that stuff. So I was involved in that when I was at university. Then after university, whilst I was working, I also volunteered. I was part of Bulawayo Dialogue Institute as a board member. Bulawayo Dialogue Institute was also an organization that was advocating for youth involvement in the community, like in politics, and also youths to be involved in matters of the nation, matters of the community, just to contribute on what is happening around them. And we're also involved in training and also uplifting the youths. We're up to young, from the tender age of school-going age, we used to promote public speaking, debates, and all those things, because we wanted the youths to be involved. And then when I came to South Africa, I was coming to look for a job. I came in 2007. I left Zimbabwe in 2007. I relocated to South Africa. When I came here, I worked for about 2 years. Whilst I was working, we started a ministry with my husband, and I've been a pastor since 2009. We pastored Victory Fellowship Cape Town, which closed in 2018. And then in 2010, I started an organization called Victorious Woman. It's an organization whose intention was to equip women just to stand on their own, and to also to help them to heal if they've been through issues, just to remind them that they are important, because the society does not really affirm the girl child. And most of the times, women just need other women to hold their hand and tell them that they can do it. So that organization was actively operational until 2016. At the present moment, it's not really operational, but we are working on it, that we want to refocus, because at that particular time it was solely a Christian based organization, but now we want to make it an NPO. So we're in the process of registering and also diversifying, that we look at other issues, include women that are abused sexually, or women that have been through other things, or mental issues and all that, so that they can be helped. We're also looking at also helping women to be involved in entrepreneurship, career guidance, and all those things. So that's what we are working at the moment. But at the present moment, I'm also running 1 or 2 businesses that I recently started in 2019.
Okay, yeah. It sounds very impressive, profile yakho. You've been doing a lot of things. Yeah, and it looks like you have worked with young people.
Yes.
In your working with young people, what have you found as barriers for them to, let's say, get actively engaged in community activities and projects? What are the barriers?
What I've found, because I'm not like, I'm in my early 40s, and I'm not I'm a young adult. I'm a middle. I don't know whether it's middle or young. I don't know, but I believe it also affects us as well in our age, like in the 40s, in the 30s. What I've realized is, young people have got ideas. Young people have got a zeal. Young people want to, there are people that have got energy, that want to be involved. Mm-hmm. But most of the times, especially in our African societies, like I can say, like in Zimbabwe, they are okay on their own when they're expressing themselves on their own. When now they need to deliberate with old people, they are not received. I've learned that's the major problem. Like abantu abadala, they look at our youth as if they don't have anything to offer, because abazange babone lutho, they don't know anything. So they should wait and hear from them, or they should wait and grow up first. So they have to, they can do what they are doing, but there is a barrier of them being accepted by abantu abadala and being approved and affirmed by abantu abadala. Ukuthi i-affirmation iphelela amongst themselves, but abadala, they are not yet prepared to involve abantwana, and also to push them to identify what you are good, and we'll sit down and promote you and take maybe advisory position. It's like abadala, they still want to be involved, and they think that the abantwana, the youths have to grow up first. And it's a very complicated scenario, because youth, like when you look at an organization like ZANU-PF, you mm-hmm. can be a youth at 50 years old. So you ask yourself, Wuti, if these 30-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds are not being incorporated, so they have to wait until they get to the age of 60. And how effective are they going to be?
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting ngoba ungabhekisisa nje kuma communities angani ayaphumelela noma nenqubekela phambili, but also even if you look at our own community, like during the liberation struggle, you find that the people who played a pivotal role in the liberation struggle bekungabantu abatsha. So abantu abatsha manje,
Yeah.
do they need to be accepted? Do they need to be affirmed? Or they need ukuthi bona kube yibo abasukumayo bethatha izinto ziye phambili? What do you think about that?
Kumele basukume, but during the time of liberation struggle, I believe ukuthi abantu abatsha basukuma, but babe le backup yabantu abadala.
Okay.
Kulabantu abadala abababheka up ukuthi hayi thina bafana asingeke sikwanise ukuya empini, so lina elikwanisayo hamba nini. Some of them were actually babe pushwa ngabobaba babo labokhulu ukuthi hayi mfana wena ngcono uhambe. I remember like ukuthi mina in my family there are two of my uncles that went to war. One of them did not come back, wafele Zambia, omunye wahamba waphenduka. My grandfather was involved in waye part of iZipra, wahamba wayabotshwa egona kudzingwa, but kazange ahambe yena empini. But I believe ukuthi ukhulu waye involved in pushing the boys ukuthi bafana mina ngimdala angeke ngihambe ngiye kulwimpi, kodwa I'm sending you because you guys are capable, you guys are able to do it. Ngcono lina lihambe lesimela, mina while I remain here. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So in the liberation struggle, there was a consensus between the young and the old. Abadala bathatha position yabo bayenza okumele bakwenze, and the young people, they did what they were supposed to do. And I remember even when we're reading books, the women they had their own position. Kwakulabo chimbwido, kwakulabantu ababepheka, kwakulabantu abethwala izikhwama, and all that, everyone was involved.
Yeah.
So in as much as the youth are supposed to stand up, do they have a backup? Is there anyone who is supporting them? Is there anyone who is acknowledging what, yes, we've got young people who are capable to lead?
There is this issue of voter apathy. Abantu abasha abathandi ukuthi baye okhethweni bekhethe inkokheli noma abaholi abazobahola okuyibo bazokuvulela amathuba. Maybe open space for them, be it politically or whatever. When apathy because
voter apathy, I'm not really sure what ngathi cause of win, but when MDC was formed in 2000, I was in Harare. I remember I was doing my first year at university, and the language that was being spoken at campus at that particular time, it was MDC. And I can assure you, Uti, at that particular time, that was my first time as well to register to vote, because I was 20 years old. So it was my first time to vote at that particular time. And I can assure you, Uti, 90% of the students at that particular time, given they went to register to vote because we're so excited. There was so much of excitement in 2000 because of MDC, and I was involved in like polling stations. I think I was a monitor. I was an election monitor. I remember and I was an election monitor. So that particular year, there was no voter apathy as far as the youths were concerned, and we were so positive that that was going to bring a change. So I believe, Uti, after 2000, when things did not go the way that we thought they were going to go as young people, and like Uti, I don't know how it was from there, but I remember that 2000, there were so many young people that were involved. So I believe at times apathy, it does not come because the young people do not want to vote, but at times maybe they don't see themselves, they don't see a representation, they don't believe in the ideology of the people abafuna ukuvotela. And I believe, Uti, if someone wants to be voted for and they want the young people to be involved, they have to win the hearts of the young people. At that particular time, MDC went out of its way, going to participate. There has to be also a wooing of them. Someone has to make sure that whatever they are doing, they are also incorporating the young people in the agenda. And they uthi babayenze babe involved and bathi enjoy to be part of that. There were quite a number of political parties that were launched in that year, 2000. I remember, so the time I went to Mutapa for another political party that maybe it existed for 1 or 2 years. But the MDC yasala loki corner because everyone bought into the idea and people were excited. And I believe maybe that's why it's still there up to today. So Uguti, there has to be, I don't know how, I don't want to say that the young people, but I'm just saying, maybe the young people should be involved, maybe from the inception of these ideas, so that they can also reach out to other young people. When you are starting a political party or you are doing make sure that the youths are also actively participating, because they can be used to reach out to the other youths.
Yeah, no, that's very good. That's very good. You spoke about what you founder and the director of an organization called Victorious Women Ministry.
Yes. Church? No, it was an interdenominational ministry. It was just a faith-based organization, but it was involving women from different churches. I actually had to approach some women in Cape Town that I knew, Uti, this is what I want to do. Can you just help me? So it was Ipodiankona was made up of 10 women, and they were from different churches, and some of them were South Africans and some of them were Zimbabweans.
Okay, so Ute, the main objective of this organization was to empower women spiritually, emotionally, and physically. In the practical sense, how did you do it?
Because I was a pastor, most of the things that it was more about prayer and encouragement and visiting them when they've got need, and then if we're able to contribute, we would contribute. I remember that at one time we were raising funds to buy our textbooks for a certain primary school in Kailicha, and we did that, and we went to distribute those books. So it wasn't really much on that end, which we are envisaging now. When we relaunch it and we diversify, we are going to be able to do that, to go to the communities and do it more on that side, community development, more than the spiritual side. But at that particular time, it was mainly about, because we used to run conferences every year. So those women will come for the conferences, and then in those conferences, we'll make sure that different topics are covered and different issues that affect women are addressed. So that's how we used to do it. Then afterwards, if there was a woman who needed a follow-up, would follow up with them and engage with them and assist where we could.
Yeah. Women sometimes experience certain issues that maybe men do not experience, or men could experience as well, but at a lesser extent.
Yes.
I'm realizing that you want to extend and diversify this organization. So what sort of issues are you going to be tackling?
My issues, like the issues that I'll be tackling, like I'm actually looking at main things that are affecting women today. And me being in South Africa, one of the issues that I'm passionate about is gender-based violence. Most of the women in Cape Town, a greater percentage has been subject to sexual abuse or sexual molestation and rape. And most of them have never spoken to anyone. They just come to church and they begin to open up and tell you know what, I was sexually abused by my stepfather when I was a child. And then you ask them, how did you cope? Then you realize that there was no opportunity for them to talk about that. So they just have to pretend as if they are okay and life had to go on. There was this case of one woman that opened up to me and said, my mother actually thought I was lying because the stepfather was the stepfather is the husband to the mother. So the mother will stand with the stepfather and not stand with the child. So the child could not open up to the mother, and she never opened up to anyone. That stepfather is there today. They are staying in the same house. This issue was never addressed. But this woman is not okay. You know? So those are some of the things that we want to tackle, that women at times, they carry issues like maybe from childhood that were never addressed, and it affects them. It affects them mentally. It affects them like in their doing of things. At times they fail to become who they are supposed to be because there is something that happened that they never opened up about, and there was no safe place for them. That's one of the issues that I'm passionate about. And then the other one is career guidance and career guidance on how to choose a career. What is it that you can do, especially now, because every time we realize that there is a change in terms of careers that are relevant. We're in another era now, so people should actually look into the future and see what is going to be relevant, and some careers are going to fade away. And the other thing in Africa right now that is growing at a very fast rate is entrepreneurship, especially amongst the women. So we want to do that. And also the medical aspect, that there should be, there's a rise of cervical cancers and breast cancers. So we are looking forward that we should have a facility whereby the woman is able to be like to go and have a checkup at a reasonable rate and be in a space where they are comfortable. When they need counseling, they should go and be able to talk to somebody about anything. So it's like just being available for women at whatever level. That are you a parent? Are you a young girl? Are you an adult that is confused, that doesn't know what to do? So we just want to be there and be available at whatever level.
Yeah, ngifuna ukubisela kancane emuva, but it's an issue oyiraisile kulo phezu kombuzo lwengubuze wona. Uraisele issue ye GBV, wafocusa kakhulu ku sexual abuse.
Yes.
Uma nje ungawugoqa kahle khona phana nje usihlaziyele khona ukuthi kanti i-sexual abuse ne-domestic violence zona lezi zinto zenzakala kakhulu alright within ama-families. Ungani zisenzakala? 1, 2, ungani zingaphumeli ngaphandle?
I believe ukuthi yabona i-setup ye-Africa ayifanani ne-setup ye-Europe. In as much as we talk about human rights, our culture, our African culture is not really like that. The African culture, one of the things that it does is you cannot, if you are abused by your uncle, you cannot just wake up and go to the police station and say, my uncle abused me sexually. Because the first thing that you do, uzakhuluma lo aunt, umtshela ukuthi aunt lapha le problem, umalume did this. And aunt being aunt wanting to protect the brother, asozavuma ukuthi uhambe report case yakho. At times indaba yakho niyaphonga uvalwa or iphonga kwenzakala ngathiwa bakutshela ukuthi no they olamanga, you get what I'm saying. And most of the times the African society is still is still protecting the boy child compared to the girl child. The girl child, even if she's a victim, u-auntie uyakwanisa uqalisa ukubuza ukuthi wena vele ugqoke njani. Umalume azakubambe ubelingaphi ubudingani wena kumalume kade kusikhathi bani. You get what I'm saying? Engaka ukuthi ngitshona ngokuphela ngento zakho zezokutshona ugqoke into ezibambayo. Uyavela uzifunela amadoda ukuthi umalume abuza ukuthi kathi wena malume ukuhambe njani. Most of the times the men are not even approached, so they just get away with it because they are men. That's how the African society is. So you realize ukuthi because the African culture protects the boy child or protects the males, most of the times the women are victims and they don't have anyone to protect them. And the men know that it doesn't matter what we do, we are the men. No one is going to do anything to us. So most of these cases, they are never reported because of that. Most of these, especially if they happen within a family setup, it's easier for someone to report a stranger than to report a relative. And unfortunately, those relatives, they have to keep on seeing them. And when you keep on seeing that person, it affects you even more. Because there is no closure. And at times we are told to, after being abused, that person can tell you, you will see what I'm going to do, and no one is going to do anything to me.
So into enzima phela lena uyasho ukuthi I-culture to ayikuvumeli or ayikugqugquzeli ukuthi abantu belungise uma konakele. Like umuntu uma lesereshiwe ukuthi maybe umuntu kwemaphoyiseni noma kwenziwena I-culture yethu is not open to that. So manje ubona ukuthi going forward kumele kwenziwe njengabantu kumele senzeni.
Mina I believe ukuthi kumele kube lama platforms. One of the things kumele sinanzelele thulani ukuthi we have transitioned. I-culture yethu indlela esakhula ngayo, like ukuthi ungakhangela I-setup yekhaya kwakule I-village yonke was responsible for the child. Kwakungela ukuthi kukosibani, kwakungela ukuthi kukosibanda kulothi kukodube. Everyone would be involved in issues that pertain to that village. But now we've transitioned, we're no longer there. And at times, there is not even anyone that you can talk to. At that particular time when we're growing up, everyone in the village, why aunt? So you know, down the village and kulumela at times because people were working like that. Umntwana is for everyone. I remember I was sharing with someone ukuthi wasingahlangana lo muntu omdala wakumele umthwalele into ayithweleyo whether uyamazi kumbe awumazi. That's how we were brought up, because if village was a community. But now that has changed. Every family is isizibonela. So every family is isizibonela. Now ama families ngumama lobaba labantwana. Auntie labo, they are really involved in issues now. So they have to be platforms that are created. Okay, now if this thing cannot be discussed in a home setup, someone has to find some way, somebody, even abangamazio, that they can open up to. They have to be counseling centers. They have to be not really counseling centers, maybe friendship centers where you can go and talk to someone. and pour out your heart. Like I was just asking myself, all right, Kates, if I've got an issue, who do I talk to? People have tried to do it in the church, but in the church as well, you realize, ungakhuluma in the church, at times your issue begins to be spoken about at the pulpit. And so people end up not being able to open up in the church. Because in the church, people are not trained on how to handle people's issues. They just take it, there's no ethics, there's no privacy, there's no confidentiality. So I mean, I believe there have to be centers that are opened up, whether it's men or it's women. If you've got an issue, you should know what, okay, I can go and talk to somebody.
Yeah. Hayi. Ngiyayizwa indaba le inzima kakhulu ngoba ikuthatha ukubeke move ukuthi njengomuntu omnyama owase-Afrika simi kuphi i-future lethu limi kanjani uma siqhubeka ngoku-abuse abantu esihlala nabo.
Yes.
Yeah.
And okunye, they should be like kumele abantu babe protected. Somehow our society has to value the sanctity of human life. You get what I'm saying? Ukuthi umuntu akumelanga nje aphongo abuse umuntu athi get away with it. We don't have to promote that. We have to have a place and we have to have this culture which everyone is important and everyone has to be protected. And I believe the government also should be so strict about now abuse umuntu. I sentence yakhona should be so difficult such that no one would even try and do that.
Yeah, I think uyakubeka kahle ukuthi kumele ibhekwe at different levels, maybe community. Yabona kusetshenziswe nomthetho into ezinjalo. I know uyakubeka kahle kakhulu. Ngibona engathi hayi isikhathi sethu manje sesidliwe ngumangoyi, kodwa ke uma kukhona ongafisa ukuthi kube ngama closing remarks akho ngingajabula kakhulu.
Woman, I believe so much in the ability and in also a girl and a woman, they deserve to be happy. No, they deserve to be themselves. They don't need to live for someone else. They need to live for themselves. And they should actually pursue their dreams. They should become who they want to become, who they were created to become. And I'm looking forward for a society that is going to open up avenues for the girl child, are they free to be who they are. And that women will stop living for the sake of men. You know what, I have to do this so that then is that. You get what I'm saying? I just have to be acceptable as I am. You just have to be acceptable as you are, because that's who you are. You shouldn't apologize for your personality. You shouldn't apologize for your dreams, because you are important. Whatever that you are, that's what the society needs. For as long as it's okay, as long as it's good, that's what the society needs. We want women to contribute and build the society and contribute that which they can. They are not important, or they cannot speak, or they cannot be valuable. So I'm one person that believes so much in the girl child. I believe in the ability of women, and I believe in women working together with men, complementing each other. Men have got something and women have got something, but if we work together, I believe that we can actually achieve more.
Yeah, yes, okay. But in yourself is, let's say, uma uaseta ama rights akho njengomuntu wesimame ikakhulu kubo baba irresponsible njani?
I've not really, like, I've grown. I grew up as a child that was laid back. that believed that I'm not important because I'm a girl. At one time, someone very important in my life told me ukuthi amankazana awapasi. Ukuthi endiscourage ukuthi ngingahambi ku-A level because amankazana vele awapasi. Amankazana ayapasa kuphela aphelele ku-O level, then they get married. So ukuthi investing in a girl child is wasting time. So I grew up under that setup, and over the years, I've affirmed myself. Over the years, I've realized, no man, this is not true. And I realized that it's very important for me to be myself. I contribute better to society. So because of that, I've told myself that because I was able to do that and I was able to find myself, I should be able to reach out to other women and tell them the same thing. Which, you know what? You have to be who you want to be. You have to be who God created you to be important. Be a citizen. God made you to be a woman because he wanted you to be here now and do that which you've got to do. You don't need to be a man to make a difference. You can make a difference at your sphere where you are in your capacity as a woman and make a lasting mark that even after you are gone, people are going to remember you.
Yeah, I know. Sibongile kakhulu. Siyathemba ukuthi sizobuya sixoxe nawe futhi next time sizo focus on a certain topic, then it's down. Yeah, siyabonga kakhulu ukuthi lesivakashile kuMathena Broadcasting Corporation.
Okay, Mbongile Lamtulani, thank you very much.